Everything changed in a matter of seconds. Welcome to NFL Nexus, and welcome to this deep dive explainer. Look, if you want to understand the hidden, intricate mechanisms of the league, you are exactly in the right place. But before we step into the shadows of this totally unprecedented rebuild, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like this explainer, and comment down below with what you think as we go along. And hey, support the channel by becoming a channel member, because today we're looking at a franchise standing on the absolute edge. We're going to dive deep into the microscopic details, from the hyper-calculated psychology of a rookie prodigy all the way to the dangerous biomechanics of a generational running back. You see, the 2026 Las Vegas Raiders aren't just making a few off-season moves. They are executing a high-stakes, incredibly delicate gamble. The pressure surrounding this organization right now is literally immense. We're looking at a franchise absolutely desperate to claw its way back to contention, and they're doing it in a way that demands our absolute, undivided attention.
So it begs the question, can calculated precision actually save a chaotic franchise? Because let's be honest, for decades, the narrative surrounding the Raiders has basically been one of instability. It's been defined by raw emotion, missed playoffs, revolving doors of head coaches, just pure, unadulterated chaos. But this offseason, a sudden, chilling shift happened inside that building. The organization is making a desperate, concerted attempt to replace all that chaos with cold, calculated execution. Every single decision, every draft pick, every veteran signing, and even the physical transformations of their players in the weight room, it is all rooted in a highly precise methodology. The margin for error here is absolute zero. We all know the house always wins in Vegas, but the Raiders are trying to rewrite those odds by completely eliminating emotion and relying purely on microscopic detail.
Section 1. The Vegas Gamble. A franchise on the brink.
To really grasp the granular details of what's happening, you have to understand the sheer, massive scale of this offseason overhaul. The current landscape of the Raiders organization is practically unrecognizable from just a few years ago. They are a team that's been desperately searching for an identity, searching for a real cornerstone, and searching for a way to actually matter in a league that unforgivingly leaves chaotic teams in the dust. The stakes right now aren't just about winning a couple more games, it's about redeeming an entire global brand. This is the 2026 rebuild arsenal. First, you've got partial owner Tom Brady, a guy whose very name is synonymous with winning, bringing this unprecedented sway to the front office. Then, new head coach Clint Kubiak, fresh off his Super Bowl victory with the Seattle Seahawks, bringing a championship pedigree and a highly complex wide-zone offensive scheme that relies on absolute pinpoint timing. Under center, they brought in the 37-year-old veteran mastermind Kirk, a quarterback with a career completion percentage hovering near 70%, who's known for his surgical command of pre-snap motions. Backing him up, or perhaps pushing him, is the 22-year-old rookie Fernando Mendoza, fresh off winning a national championship and a Heisman Trophy for the Indiana Hoosiers with just jaw-dropping precision. And rounding it all out, generational running back Ashton Jeanty, a guy with a staggering 2,000-plus scrimmage yard profile. This isn't just a roster, guys. It's a meticulously crafted formula designed to forcefully drag this team into the playoffs.
Section 2. The ChatGPT Prodigy. Decoding Fernando Mendoza. Now, one of the most absolutely fascinating pieces of this entire puzzle is the strange, highly scrutinized media storm surrounding the rookie. Mendoza isn't just being evaluated on his arm strength or how he moves in the pocket. No, he's being dissected for his personality, or as some in the media have very loudly claimed, his total lack of one. It's this bizarre psychological evaluation playing out in real time. People are saying, he doesn't curse, he's a goody two-shoes, he honestly sounds like AI. And these aren't just random fan comments on Twitter. This perception became so pervasive that Raiders general manager John Spidek actually confronted Mendoza with it. During a rigorous 45-minute combine interview, Spidek literally slid a scouting report across the table and flat out asked the Heisman winner why people think he operates like a robot. The media totally ran with this picture after a specific instant during the Ohio State game, where Mendoza, in the absolute heat of a brutal rivalry, chose to use the word flipping instead of dropping a massive curse word on national television. From that one single microscopic moment, the narrative just spun wildly out of control.
But here is the key moment. Mendoza responded to all that noise with total gravitas. He said, "People like all this guy's ChatGPT, but I've been able to connect with my teammates really well and not in a ChatGPT scenario." He delivers this defense with remarkable stoicism. His pulse rate doesn't rise. He doesn't get defensive. He doesn't get angry. He doesn't engage in some petty media war. He simply acknowledges the absurdity of the narrative and systematically dismantles it. His teammates will be the first to tell you he is not AI. He's just incredibly, ruthlessly focused. What the media interprets as a lack of personality, the Raiders recognize as something far more valuable for a franchise trying to rebuild its very foundation.
And that valuable trait is calculated precision. Mendoza doesn't speak like a robot, he speaks like a man who absolutely refuses to make a mistake. He is intensely, almost obsessively prepared in literally every facet of his life.
I mean, he takes speech classes. He studies YouTube videos on corporate communication and historical leadership speeches. He reads heavily just to expand his vocabulary and categorize his thoughts so that every single spoken word is entirely deliberate. He knows full well the media could twist a young quarterback's words in an instant, so he takes the calculated route. He glorifies God, he praises his offensive linemen, and he leaves absolute zero room for error. The Raiders don't want a loudmouth who creates bulletin board material. They want a pre-snap supercomputer. They care that this 22-year-old is smart enough to outwork and outprepare every single person around him.
Section 3. The Veteran's Blueprint. Passing the torch.
So we've established Mendoza's obsessive mindset. But what actually happens when you put that kind of prodigy in the exact same quarterback room as a 15-year NFL veteran? The media desperately wants to manufacture some drama here. They want a bitter, divisive QB controversy because, let's face it, that sells headlines. But when you break down the microscopic realities of this dynamic, you'll see why that narrative completely falls apart. Look at it. Fernando Mendoza is 22 years old, he's the franchise future. Kirk Cousins is 37, he's the system mastermind. This is a massive 15-year generational gap. Cousins has spent a decade and a half mastering the West Coast system, the wide zone, and under center play action. He processes NFL coverages in literal tenths of a second. Contrast that with Mendoza's 22-year-old brain, which is transitioning from a college spread system. Cousins is the veteran in place for right now. Mendoza is the future. This isn't a competition. It's a highly calculated mentorship, intentionally engineered by the front office to make sure Mendoza's eventual transition is completely seamless. And Mendoza knows exactly how valuable this is. He noted that his veteran counterpart has been in this offense before, has had experience with Coach Kubiak, which has been incredibly interesting for the rookie to observe. Cousins isn't just teaching Mendoza the playbook in some static classroom setting. Cousins knows Clint Kubiak's offense inside and out. He knows exactly how to call out Mike linebackers, how to identify zero blitzes pre-snap, and he is showing Mendoza the exact eye manipulations needed to freeze NFL safeties. He's giving the rookie the ultimate real-time blueprint in live-fire scrimmages. They're working together, not against each other. When you combine Mendoza's calculated precision with Cousins' decade and a half of battle-tested knowledge, you get a terrifyingly prepared quarterback room.
Section 4. The Muscle Paradox. The Danger of the Bulk Up.
While the quarterback room is basically a picture of calculated peace, we have to shift the cinematic tension over to the backfield, because out there on the practice field, a very different, highly physical risk is unfolding. In the NFL, adding strength is almost always seen as a positive, right? Up until it alters your center of gravity and destroys the very thing that made you special in the first place. Ashton Genty's off-season photos show some immense muscle gain. The visual transformation is honestly awe-inspiring. Genty, despite naturally possessing a somewhat smaller frame, showed up to camp looking absolutely jacked. He looks like one of the strongest running backs in the entire league right now. On the surface, for an offense that fully expects to run the ball heavily under Kubiak's wide zone scheme, this sheer physicality seems like a massive win. But behind closed doors, within the halls of the Raiders facility, these photos are triggering a deep, lingering anxiety.
And the reason for that anxiety is Zamir White. His cautionary tale haunts this facility. Think back to it. In year 1 and 2, White circulated these ripped off-season photos. He bulked up his frame, looking like a completely different, unstoppable player. Everyone expected this massive breakout season. But by year 3, the biomechanics of his lower body just couldn't support the sheer density of his upper frame, and it resulted in a devastating loss of agility and speed. And by year 4, the microscopic details of his decline were just terrifying. His yards per carry plummeted from 4.3 down to an abysmal 2.8. His broken tackle rate dropped by a staggering 40%. He literally turned in one of the absolute worst running back seasons in the entire NFL. The extra muscle literally destroyed his career. Now obviously, Genty's a generational talent and White was just a roster piece, but the mechanical realities of the human body do not care about your draft pedigree. Genty's essential arsenal is built on this very delicate, explosive balance. He relies on lateral jump cuts that occur in less than 0.3 of a second. He thrives on bursting through incredibly tight holes created by the zone blocking scheme. He creates distinct separation as a receiver out of the backfield, and he unloads this explosive deep speed, reaching a blistering 21.8 miles per hour on that massive touchdown against the Texans last season. If this new bulky muscle mass alters his center of gravity, if it slows down his lateral quickness by even a fraction of a second, the Raiders' entire offensive engine could just stall out. Yes, he'll be sharing the load with rookie Mike Washington, but make no mistake, Jonty is the foundational piece. This physical transformation is a massive, high-wire gamble.
Section 5. The Brady Standard, the ultimate expectation.
The Raiders aren't just making these offseason moves in a vacuum. There's a huge shadow looming over this entire franchise, and it belongs to a man who literally defines the word standard in the National Football League. This is where the whole narrative truly crystallizes. On one side, you have Fernando Mendoza's trait, obsessive preparation, taking speech classes, analyzing YouTube videos, carefully categorizing his vocabulary to outwork everyone in the room. And on the other side, you have minority owner Tom Brady's legacy, obsessive preparation, strict sleep schedules, 4 a.m. film study, and outworking literally everyone in the history of the sport. The psychological wiring between these two is identical. Both men simply refuse to step onto a football field without being the single most prepared human being in the stadium. Brady's undeniable presence at the absolute top of the organization dictates that every single player, from the rookie quarterback mapping out his speech to the bulked-up running back testing his biomechanics, must meet this exact unforgiving standard. So this is the Raiders' intense, high-wire blueprint to contention. Step 1, draft the hyper-prepared prodigy who operates with absolute precision. Step 2, install the veteran mastermind who already knows the complex championship offensive system. And Step 3, unleash the physically transformed weapons, praying to God the muscle paradox doesn't backfire. But make no mistake, it is a house of cards. If Mendoza's precision falters under live fire, or if Cousins' age suddenly starts to show, or if Janty's muscle tears a ligament because his agility is compromised, the entire plan collapses. They've tried to eliminate the chaos. They have implemented a cold, calculated formula to engineer a playoff team from scratch. 2026. The time for speech classes is completely over. The time for analyzing communication videos is over. The time for posting off-season weightlifting photos is officially done. The timeline for the Las Vegas Raiders isn't somewhere off in the distant future, it is right now. The brutal AFC West schedule is looming large. Every calculation, every meticulous mentor session, every single pound of muscle added in the weight room, it all gets put to the ultimate test immediately.
And this leaves us with one final, lingering question. When the lights actually come on in Vegas, will this calculated gamble pay off, or will the house win again? Thank you so much for watching this explainer on NFL Nexus. If you appreciated this deep dive into the microscopic details of the NFL, please do not forget to subscribe to the channel, like this explainer, and comment down below with what you thought and what your predictions are for the Raiders this season. And hey, support the channel by becoming a channel member today. Until next time, keep your eyes on the details.